Because I just want to say hello. I forgot that I forgot to unmute myself, people. Hi, Kate. Sorry.
Hi, Maria. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. All right, I'm going to, of course. I'm going to stop the music, but hopefully that got everyone in the mood to talk about Indonesia today.
Yes.
So thank you for everyone for coming and welcome. Sorry, there's just a couple more people coming in. So thank you for joining us this evening. We're so pleased to welcome you to our first of what we plan to be a series of virtual meet and greets with people that we've worked with around the world. This is a series that we're calling Incredible People in Amazing Places. And today we are focused on Indonesia. My name is Kate Salangia, and I'm the Executive Director of Momentum Wheels for Humanity. I've been with the organization for about 10 years, and during that time, I've been very fortunate to have spent a lot of time in Indonesia, in Yogyakarta province, where UCP RUK is based, and you'll hear about UCP RUK in a minute, and in other locations where we've spread our work. And it's been truly rewarding professionally and personally, and it's one of my favorite places to visit. So I'm really excited that today we're getting to share a little bit about our work there, the impact that it has on individuals and their families and their communities, but also to share a little bit about Indonesian culture. So you'll see some photos, maybe you got some Indonesian food, hopefully somebody did, but you know, this is a time when we all have been on lockdown and cooped up and unable to experience so many of the things that we love about travel. And so we thought that this could be a way for us to sort of transport ourselves to a different place, think about a different culture for an evening, and meet two inspiring people, Sri Lestari and Bahrul Fuad, who have unique perspectives on the world. But now I want to tell you a little bit about our organization. Momentum Wheels for Humanity is a nonprofit organization that was founded in 1996. This is our 25th anniversary this year, our 25th year of increasing access to mobility and rehabilitation services, which lead to inclusion, which benefits us all. We have provided more than 125,000 wheelchairs and other mobility aids. We've reached more than 440,000 people with our work, and currently we're working in more than 50 countries around the world. Our work can be quite technical. So, you know, sometimes that means fine-tuning the diameter of a caster wheel on a wheelchair that we've designed, or it can mean negotiating with different ministries of government around the national regulatory framework for physical rehabilitation. But ultimately, the heart of our work is about giving people the tools and resources that they need to live the lives that they want to lead. And those lives look all kinds of different ways. And so we wanted to create an opportunity to bring you closer to some of those stories. And tonight you're going to hear about some of the work that we've done in Indonesia, and you'll have the opportunity to connect directly with two people who have been able to live expansive lives because they've had continued access to mobility. So we're going to do some introductions and share a couple of videos about our work overall and our work in Indonesia. And then we want to hand it over to Sri and Bahrul for you to hear from them directly, for you to ask any questions you might have about their lives or about Indonesia. And we really wanted this to be a casual conversation. So please do join in. We ask that you keep yourself on mute for now, but please turn on your video, keep your video on if you're comfortable. And if you want to jump in and say something or ask a question, you can do that in the chat, or you can raise your hand using the reactions, or where is it that you need to do it? Sorry, Patrick, you had said it's in the participants.
Yeah, the participants, there's a little, if you click on participants, there's a little blue hand that says raise hand.
Yeah, so try for that. If it doesn't work, you can also just unmute yourself and jump in, and that is also perfectly fine. So now we're going to play a video that we think captures what we're all about as an organization. And then I'm going to hand it over to Aji Suryanto, the country director of UCP RUK, which is the organization that we founded in Indonesia and that we now partner with. And he'll share more about how we've worked together in Indonesia. So first I'm going to share this video. I'm going to do that by doing this over here and then going like that. Okay.
Imagine what you would do and how you would feel if you couldn't move and didn't have access to a wheelchair. Imagine what you would do and how you would feel if that were your child. As many as 70 million people need wheelchairs for mobility but don't have access to them. The need is even more pronounced in low and middle income countries. That's 70 million people who are missing the one thing between them and going to school, visiting friends, getting a job. That's 70 million families feeling that impact on their households, and that's millions of communities that are missing out. For more than 25 years, Momentum Wheels for Humanity has been working to address this immense need. We create momentum for people, families, and communities. Momentum means opportunity, it means participation, it means people are seen for who they are and what they have to offer. Our vision is a world in which every person who needs a wheelchair or any mobility aid can get one, always. At Momentum Wheels for Humanity, we think through all the elements that need to be in place to achieve this goal. We do this through human-centered design and global product distribution, training, and advocacy in more than 50 countries around the world. And we work directly with governments to make scalable changes with lasting impact in communities. Every mobility aid provided transforms the life of the individual receiving it, and it also impacts their family and their community. That's new friends, new voices at the table, new perspectives on what our world can be. Because when everyone is included, we all thrive.
Okay. And
that's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that.
oh, thank you. Sorry, I missed who said that. I couldn't see.
That would be
me.
It
was James. Hi, James. Thanks. Thanks for your feedback. I'm going to pass it to Aji now, our country director of UCP RUK.
Thank you, Kate. Hi, everyone. Greeting from Indonesia. My name is Aji Suryanto. I'm the director of UCP Roda Untuk Kemanusiaan Indonesia. I want to tell you a little bit about Indonesia, which we call Tanah Air Kita, our land and water. We have so many islands. You could see it from my background. Here. Sumatra Island, Java Island, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, Papua. And we have Bali Island as one of the beautiful islands. And we have so huge, beautiful sea. And if you're familiar with Raja Ampat, then it would be close to on my left side. Indonesian cuisine is one of the most diverse, vibrant, colorful. And if you're familiar with rendang, that would be one of our famous and delicious food in the world. Well, and we have so many people, more than 270 millions across the country. And that's make Indonesia very rich with everything. And I'm wearing batik right now. This is one of the, the very famous clothes in Indonesia. Also our formal clothes in Indonesia as well. And we have Borobudur temples and Prambanan temples are among the most famous example of the temples in Indonesia. UCP Roda Untuk Kemanusiaan Indonesia is a non-profit and independent organization focusing on the fulfillment of the right of people with disabilities in Indonesia, especially the right to mobility devices, as it is key to enhance the independence of people with disabilities. UCP RUK established by Momentum Wheels for Humanity and began its program in 2009 with great support from national donors, from the local government, from the central government. UCP RUK has become one of the pioneer organizations in Indonesia for promoting and providing appropriate mobility aids. UCP RUK has led empowerment program, especially for women with disability or having children with disability, including family support group, and advocacy program, focusing on strengthening policies to ensure people with disabilities can get the wheelchair and mobility aids they need to be independent. In Jakarta, we've been working with the local government and other stakeholders to improve the provincial health insurance system program. What we call it jam kasus disabilitas, person with disabilities, and we aim to scale this program to other provinces as well and bring this up to the national level. Hopefully, all Indonesians with disabilities will their right, with the right to access technology. We understand there are so many people with disabilities in Indonesia who need wheelchairs and other mobility aids. Through this event, we would like to say thank you to all donors who supported us until today, and hopefully, and we really appreciate that you keep supporting us, so more people around Indonesia could be able to access personal mobility, become independent and empowered. And together, we are striving for more in Indonesia. Thank you for your time. And now we will show you a short video that shares more photos from our work together in Indonesia.
Weren't those videos great? And thank you, Aji and Kate, for those opening words. My name is Dami Odunewu, Donor Relations Manager for Momentum Wheels for Humanity. Now I'd like to introduce our two guests, Bahrul Fuad and Sri Lestari. And I'll start with Bahrul. Bahrul lives with his family in Depok City, south of Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. For the last 25 years, he has been an advocate for change on a range of social justice issues, including disability rights and women's rights. He holds a master's degree in humanitarian action from the University of Groningen in the Netherlands, and he is currently pursuing his PhD at the University of Indonesia, where he's writing his dissertation on protecting women with disabilities from violence. Bahrul has used various mobility aids throughout his life, and in 2017, needed to transition to a wheelchair, which he received from UCPR UK. Since then, he has become more active in advocating for accessible public spaces. In 2019, he led a successful movement to enact a policy allowing wheelchairs into mosques, and he also works as a consultant to evaluate accessibility of spaces, including the Yogyakarta airport. And now I'm going to introduce Sri. Sri lives with her family in Yogyakarta, which is in the center of the island of Java, and is the cultural capital of Indonesia. Sri received her first wheelchair in 2007 from Momentum Wheels for Humanity, and was our first employee when we launched our USAID-funded project in Indonesia 2009. Since then, Sri has worked as a UCPR UK social worker, and she's usually the main point of contact for all the people receiving wheelchairs from our UK. She's able to travel around to visit with all of the clients at their homes using her modified motorcycle, which she can now roll onto with the wheelchair. She's taken to long journeys on her motorcycle to raise awareness of disability rights and to help others with mobility impairments. She's traveled the length of the island of Java, all through Bali and across Sumatra Island, over 1,500 miles independently. Sri is an adventurous woman who is very active and has tried many sports such as water skiing, diving, surfing, and other activities, which she will share more about with us. Sri's work is dedicated to advocacy for people with disabilities in Indonesia. And I'm going to start off my first question with you, Bahrul.
Yeah.
I see that you're a big advocate for several issues in your country. What are those issues, and what would you like everyone to learn about them?
Hello, is everybody hear my voice?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Yeah, greeting from Indonesia. So this is nice for me, and I'm very happy to see you all, even only in the Zoom. So thank you. I will, regarding what is the several issues that I'm doing the advocacy. So yes, it has been 25 years that I have been actively advocating for the fulfillment of the right of person with disability, and have been a consultant in several organizations and government for the development of inclusive policy of people with disabilities. And I have also been working as a consultant for the Netherlands leprosy relief. This for the leprosy elimination program in Indonesia. As you know that Indonesia currently still rank the third rank of the leprosy. What is the number of leprosy in the world? So still many people become disabled, affected by leprosy. So that's why the Netherlands leprosy relief, which I also working there, still exists in Indonesia. And currently I'm focusing on the advocating the elimination of violence against women with disabilities in Indonesia. And I'm as a commissioner in the National Commission of Violence Against Women Indonesia. That's all.
Thank you so much, Bahrul. That is amazing. You're doing really amazing things in Indonesia. And we're glad that you could share this with us. And my next question is for you, Sri. I know that in your work, you meet with almost every person that UCPR UK provides wheelchairs to, and that you have made friends with just about all of them. Can you tell us a funny story about a client you met with in the field?
Oke, thank you Dami. Good evening everyone and selamat pagi teman-teman di Indonesia. Nice to meet you all, and yes, that's so many time I meet with mostly of UCPR UK client that I meet and that need a wheelchair, and I will share my experience mostly when I have done the assessment with and meet with our paraplegic client. Sometimes they don't believe me that I'm paraplegic too. They make me in a bad mood or in bad face because they are already stay a long time in their house. But when I said that I could ride modified motorbike, and then I love this moment after I said that. They will smile, and then they are surprised. And then after that, it makes me so happy every time I saw that moment. And then they want to have my phone number. And then they continue it because they really want to know about me. They really want me to share my experience how become independent as a paraplegic. And then again, when I visit, mostly when I visit my paraplegic friend, they want to meet me because they want to be just like me. And then mostly the family member, the neighborhood, they are always surprised when they saw me when I arrived to the house with my modified motorbike, and because they never know. Mostly that's first time I come there, and then because maybe because I'm a woman also, so they are more curious about me how I can drive by myself with a big motorbike. Once time when I visit I said my new friend because they call me, send me message to want meet me. I met with a man with already 8 years on the bed because paraplegic. And then when a father said like this, like a surprise or difficult to explain his father face. He said that you are paralyzed, but you also can visit a paralyzed too. It's how difficult for me to explain his face, because and then he's just looking at me, looking at his son, and then he keeps silent and listening my story. Of course, every time I visit them, I tell my story from the beginning. And then again, the funny thing, because I ride my modified motorbike is big, and I use big jacket, big helmet. So mostly they call me Mas or brother. After that, when I take off my helmet, they are surprised again. Oh, you are a woman, something like that. So that's always, even I visit sometimes sad situation, but other side, there is something that make me always really want to visit them. That's for the short story. Thank you, Dami.
Thank you so much, Sri. You're definitely such an inspiring woman. And I told you earlier, I have a lot to learn from you. And you definitely inspire me just as you do other people in Indonesia. So thank you so much for that. Bahrul, so we...
Hello, Dami.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Hey. So earlier we talked about how you led the enactment of policies about wheelchairs getting access into mosques. So what's access into mosques granted to wheelchair users across Indonesia, or was it only specific parts of the country?
Yeah, right. As you know that actually there is a misunderstanding among the Muslim in Indonesia. Actually, that wheelchair is considered as a dirty thing. So you know that and most is the places when where the Muslim worship and should be purified, should be clean. So that's why wheelchair are not allowed to enter the mosque. And so this what is how my concern. And I visit in 2019. I visit to the what is the cleric, the religious the biggest religious organization in Indonesia, Nahdlatul Ulama. So I met the what is the chief of the Nahdlatul Ulama, and what is discussing about this challenge, this problem. And then he what is he welcome. And so in 2019 we have the big discussion among the Islamic scholars in Indonesia, and finally this organization declared that actually wheelchair is allowed. Wheelchair is allowed to enter the mosque, but the problem is it's not what is still challenging, but it is only the small small number of mosques in Indonesia. So around the 10% of all mosques in Indonesia that have the policy that what is the wheelchair is allowed to enter the mosque. Like the greatest mosque in Jakarta in Indonesia is Istiqlal Mosque, but we still have the what is challenge to advocacy and public education for the other people outside the Jakarta, and I think in Java as well, that to educate them and to give the information that actually wheelchair is allowed to enter the mosque. So we still what is have the big I mean the big program, yeah, the big thing that we should do in the future, Demi.
Yeah. Well, I definitely commend your tireless efforts, you know, to ensure that all of the mosques are adhering to the policy change. And I hope that that happens over time. But thank you so much, Bahrul.
Welcome.
I've got my next question for you, Sri. So you have seen many sad circumstances in your work. Can you tell us about a moment that stands out to you?
Okay, thank you, Dami. Yeah, that's the real situation in our country, that mostly what I remember most are all my paraplegic friends. They have been so many people who paraplegic for many years just stay at home, yeah, because they don't know yet what they can do, and mostly they holding their dream that they will be able to walk again, and they are not able yet to accept themselves, so they just stay in the bed. So I always visit them with my sister or sometimes with my volunteers team, because they mostly my friend who send me message to me, they want me to me because they want me to see how I have become independent, how I can do my daily activity, and how I I can be active again, how I can work again after my paralyzed. For example, about a year ago, someone sent me message that he want to meet me. He was 10 years just stay at home because he become paraplegic because from the trees, and he live on the hill, and it's, if I can imagine, it's really difficult for me to get there because only one house on the hill, but the road to that hill is small and broken road. So my team has initiated to how to make me to get to the hill. So one of my friend is pulled, the other one is push my wheelchair, and then I can get there and meet with him. And after I met him, and then UCP UK give him a wheelchair, and now he is become more active and he can move around his house. That's the sad situation, how it's difficult for people that before they can work, just similar with my experience long time ago. I can walk by my feet, and then suddenly we have to use wheelchair. So that's neat process that we can accept the disability. Thank you, Dami.
Thank you so much, Sri. And just to give you guys an idea of what that looked like, I believe Kate has a picture to illustrate what she was just talking about on the hill. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
That's the
you,
way.
Kate. Yep. Thank you so much. Okay, I've got one more question for each one of you, and then I'll open it up to the audience for questions. So my next question for you, Bahrul, have you had the opportunity to visit other countries, and where? Also, where would you like to visit that you haven't yet visited?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dami. So, sorry. So during my study in Netherlands, so I visit some places in European countries like Belgium, and then Luxembourg, Vatican, Greece, Italy, and also UK. You know, because it's cheap. Yeah, when I study there, and then I got like student allowance, and then I saving some of my money to to visit some countries because it's cheaper than I start from Indonesia. And also in ASEAN countries, I already visited Philippines and Thailand for some conference, international conference. If you ask me where I would like to visit, of course, US. It's my dream to visit US. So in the beginning, when Pak Aji informed me that will be this seminar, so my thinking is, they will invite me to come to US, but so unfortunately, so we still doing this in a virtual. So this is the problem. So I hope next, in the future, we can Indonesian like me can visit US, because this my dream. This Dami.
Well, we would absolutely
especially to visit Hollywood.
Well, we would love to have you here
because
as well. It will be a pleasure.
Can watch the movie, so I want to visit actually.
Well, I live in the US, but I've never actually been to Hollywood, so maybe we're gonna go together. Okay, so Sri, so you have actually visited America more than once First, for an adaptive sports project, which Momentum Wheels for Humanity implemented with the US State Department, and again, to attend our annual Wheels in Motion Gala. Did you enjoy your time in the US? And was there anything that surprised you about America compared to living in Indonesia?
Thank you, Demi. That's the opposite. That's childhood dream to be to America, but I already twice been in America. How lucky of me! Yeah, that's it's difficult. How to say to explain? Yeah, because it's make me so happy. It's surprise, big surprise for me also. And yes, of course, I really enjoy in that time, and because that is new thing for me as a wheelchair user, that I can go around in the world, and it's on the adaptive sport that I learn so many things, new thing. Of course, new thing for me at that time at 2011. It's new thing for me how I can ride horse with a paraplegic, that I have to hold the horse and nothing behind me that I can stand, and but that is so, how to say, the that is in Utah, that in that is they make something that safety for me. So that is my that I really remember is how to ride a horse, and then I rafting in Colorado River, and then I do hand cycling in National Agility Center, and then water skiing, and then I'm flying fox. That is scary, but I'm so happy at the time, because from the ground until the flying fox is about 12 meters, I think. Someone, I don't know to explain in English, but I from my wheelchair I change to the things, and then someone make me up there, and then up there there is like a small bridge that already one wheelchair in there, and then I move it. Then scary but excited. That's the thing. So many things, but that is some of things that I really enjoyed during in America, and I love that. I mean, how the safety is the first, and the because I mean, like, they are ready for the disability people enjoy and safe do the sport. That's Jamie. Thank you.
So cool. That's so cool. And we do have some pictures of Sri on the water, and the one with her quote that I really liked. We're going to show that, and then we'll open it up for audience questions.
Sorry, I hit the wrong thing. You can see it now. I think this is in Indonesia. I don't know that I had a photo of the. Yeah, this is in Bali. Yeah, this is diving in Bali. Sri is such a daredevil, such a thrill seeker. We have so many different photos to choose from of all these different activities. Yeah, I don't have any photos of the zip lining, but that would have been fun. Yeah, so it looks like we have a couple of questions that have come in through the chat.
Okay.
I can see that James Manzer was asking a question. James, do you want to ask directly? I saw Bahrul answer, but I think Sri might also have an answer for this.
Okay.
Yes, James, I did see Bahrul answered in there. Thank you very much, Bahrul. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if there are specific design attributes that are important for a wheelchair in Indonesia. So when I design a wheelchair for rough conditions in somewhere, I often need to make sure it has a sturdy build, that has big wheels so it can go over rocks and stuff like that. Is there anything is special to Indonesia, like maybe if it can be transported easily, something like that?
Yeah, thank you, Maizer. As I answered as well in the chat room, that mostly Indonesia places in Indonesia, especially in the remote area in Indonesia, the facility are not accessible and geographically challenging. So like you see of my pictures when I visit Sumba Barat Daya, this is the traditional village, what is a tourism destination, the traditional village in Sumba Barat. This Kampung Tarung, we call Kampung Tarung. It's very challenging because it's like we have to climb the
Stairs.
hill. It's like hill, and then so it is my experience. So because I'm using the wheelchair, and then we need some people to carry out go up to these places, and but actually it's dangerous. Actually, it's dangerous. So in my opinion, it would be better if the wheelchair are designed more. I think it's yeah, of course the wheel should be stronger. The wheel should be stronger, and then also what is the yeah, it's more be maybe we need also like seat belt because sometimes in this situation people is like just carry the wheelchair, because I cannot go out from the wheelchair, that's right. So there's more safely when people also what is carry out the wheelchair, and I still sit on the wheelchair. But it's my experience. I don't know, maybe Mbak Sri has the different experience about that in the challenging, geographically challenging situation in Indonesia. Yeah, like Mbak Sri, I also love to visit some what is part remote area in Indonesia because of this my duty, my business traveler, yeah, actually, because as my task as the consultant, I have to evaluate the program sometimes in the remote area like East Timor, and then Maluku, Sulawesi. This the facility, transportation, and building geographically are not friendly for the people with disability, especially for the what is wheelchair user. So yeah, we need actually special design of the wheelchair. I don't know because I'm not designer, so I don't know. But yeah, maybe we need like the apa ya the
Some way for it to go upstairs or something like
go
that.
out. Yeah, it's more safely. Yeah. So this is my opinion.
Thank you so much, Bahrul. Let's hear what Sri. Sri, did you have a response for that?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's I'm agree because we are mostly in that I visit in the grassroots area, that's really remote area, just like in the picture that Kate showed before. For me, Rough Rider is perfect right now because the front wheel is the distance between front wheel and the back wheel is how to say, the distance is different than usually wheel, so it is a long base distance, so wheel base distance. So it's really comfortable when I visit in the remote area. And then if we can see in the picture again before that shown that when I use Rough Rider and my friend use a standard wheelchair, my volunteer team said that easier to help me to go to the hill when I use my Rough Rider wheelchair. So it's really help if we have a big wheel on the wheelchair when we go to the remote area. So until right now, I still really enjoy my back again. So that is the
so you can see just to add to what Sri's saying. Yes, you can see here, this is a short wheelbase, a shorter wheelbase, the difference between this wheel and that wheel, and hers is a longer, and the caster wheel in the front is wider, and also has kind of a ridge to it, and that makes it more stable when it's going over rough road. But there are trade-offs, of course. So that also means that it's wider when it turns around. It has a wider turning radius than this wheelchair might have. So I think one of the things that we always prioritize as an organization is training people to work with each person they're providing a wheelchair to make sure it's appropriate for them. So you need to have access to a lot of different types of wheelchairs, and to make sure that you understand what kind of condition that person's going to be using their wheelchair in. If it's in a rural area like Sri, and she's going to be out in the community a lot, like Bahrul, going to a lot of different places, or somebody in an office where maybe they would need a lighter wheelchair that's foldable, but might not be as sturdy. So,
yeah.
Wow, that's
Thank
really
you so much.
Is that the Whirlwind Rough Rider wheelchair? I recognize one of those wheelchairs. That
yeah.
And just
yeah,
looking at these, it's a lot of the research I've done as a biomedical engineer is looking at being able to design some of these. So I really appreciate the comments. And if you're ever looking for another engineer over there, just let me know. Give me a ring.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Thanks. So it looks like we have a bunch of messages in the chat, and Ching Ching is asking, what are the most difficult obstacles you've faced in your advocacy work for accessibility and rights for people with disabilities so far? And that I think it's a question for Bahrul and Sri. Either one of you that wants to answer that. It looks like Bahrul had responded. Bahrul, would you like to say something to that?
Okay, yeah. I will respond because some question from sorry, King, yeah, King
Yeah.
King. The question is, so what are the most difficult obstacles you have faced in your advocacy and accessibility and right for people with disabilities? So the most actually the most difficult obstacles is social perception and negative stigma of the community toward a person with disabilities. And yeah, as you know that actually some government like in Jakarta, they already improve the facilities, but they facilities, for example, they make what is the pedestrian more accessible, more friendly for the wheelchair user. But what is the community or the people still what is do not do not respect. I want to say maybe they don't understand why what is the use this pedestrian for, and sometimes they like street vendor, they sell something in the pedestrian, and also they do not what is sensitive for the people with disabilities when, for example, when we stop the what is a public transport, and then they just what is not apa ya, not pay attention for the us, and just yeah, they don't stop because we are using the wheelchair. I think some still negative perception and also stigma for the people with disabilities still exists in Indonesia. This is the most challenging. Maybe Mbak Sri has what is the other opinion about that?
Yeah, Sri, what would you say that the most obstacle is?
Thank you. Yeah, it's bit challenging. It's true what Chafu said, that some what I can say is exactly in Indonesia have nice, very good regulation, but it's not implemented yet. Like when we did assessment in the one of the road, we asked on the seller there why you use this pedestrian. They said that we never know the regulation. So that just we have to work. I mean, until right now, we always work together with some disabled people organization that how the regulation can implement it until the grassroots. So and because I have some experience also, when I have a meeting, usually they invite me to have meeting in the second floor and no lift. So they always carry me. You can imagine my wheelchair me is really heavy, and then the four people usually carry me until to the second floor. But when my experience, when I met with the leader of the office, and then the day after we have they met me, and then they have big meeting in the internal office, and then they decided that the meeting area should be in the first floor. So that sometime, I mean, like how us as a wheelchair user should be show up. I mean, should be meet directly with them so they can be more understand how difficult it is of me. And that's I have several time experience like that. After I visit the office, and then the other month or a week after, they make a ramp, something like that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Kate, go ahead.
I saw that Didier had his hand up.
He had
so
his
I wanted
hand
to
up.
come back to him and see
Thanks for
if he
catching
had
that.
a question.
Didier, you want to go ahead?
Yes, hello everybody. Let me introduce myself. Actually, I know UCP from very beginning when they got the project in Indonesia. Actually, I'm a wheelchair manufacturer at the time for the UCP RK in Jogja. I collaborate with Michael Allen, if you remember. Yeah, and if you see the wheelchair that for the kid chair now in UCP is our first design. After you got the design from San Francisco. So I collaborate with Michael with the design to create the design like you see now in field in Indonesia. So I'm interesting about what the James asking about the wheelchair that suitable for Indonesian market or for Indonesian people, because I'm working so many years in a wheelchair manufacturer, and also I'm exported our wheelchair to US, and I collaborate with Infacare and Gramfield for you know. So James, if you want to design the wheelchair for Indonesian terrain, I think the wheelchair as like Mbak Sri said that the whirlwind wheelchair, the Rough Rider, is very suitable. But the problem is the wheelchair is so heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking we should have a follow-up engineers circle, and we can get everyone together and brainstorm and do a hackathon or something. Design a new chair.
The boring
Yeah,
stuff.
especially for me,
stuff.
like I'm what is the cerebral palsy? So this my hand is not strong.
Not strong enough. Yes.
To what is to handle the wheel. So that's the problem with the now that I using the wheelchair from UCP. That's very heavy, very heavy.
Yeah.
I
know. I know that because I also have opportunity to manufacture the Rough Rider here in Indonesia. So that's why I know the wheelchair is very heavy.
Yep.
But the wheelchair is built like a tank. It's very strong.
Well, as Kate said, I think that we definitely need to have an engineers meeting or something at some point. And you know, we can talk about
yes, I agree.
all of it. Yeah, thank you guys so much. So it looks like we've got a question from Rosemary. Rosemary, would you like to ask your question?
Thank you.
Is Rosemary there? I could read the question if she's not. Okay, so she said, thank you very much for emerging as champions. This encourages people with disabilities. They become more confident, and that is very true. How's the attitude of communities towards people? And I think you guys kind of already touched on this when you talked about the social stigma and all of that with the obstacles. Rosemary, did that answer your question?
Yeah, they have answered part of it. Thank you very much.
Oh, part of it. Okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, because, you know, attitude of people towards people with disabilities determines their participation and the way they get to do their work. Am I audible enough? Do you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
we can hear you.
Okay. This one can be reinforced, as Hajat said, by the policies. But when we have champions like these ones who are very successful, other people with disabilities will also come out and demand for services like space, like ramps, because they could see that, how did he make it? I'm also going to struggle. Because as we advocate for services, we advocate from service providers, but also people with disabilities. Some of them can say, I'm not participating. After all, I'm just like this. I'm not doing this. So that negativity is like a double sword. It happens with the service providers when they have a negative attitude, stigma towards for disabilities, but also empowering the people with disabilities themselves in the communities is also very important, to demand for space, to demand for education, to demand for services. They make noise. For us here in Uganda, we have politicians at the parliament representing people with disabilities. So in case people are not conversant, are not welcoming people with disabilities, we can use those influential people, because these are people with disabilities who have made it, just like these two champions. So we're just advising that we use them to encourage others, and we keep advocating, because this is the struggle. Until everybody accepts people with disabilities, that's when we have everybody on board to participate fully. Thank you very much for the service done in Indonesia. I'm actually excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. Thank you. Yeah, and I second everything that you just said. Okay, we've got another question from Amy for Sri and Bahrul. Any advice you could offer to people who want to make a change in their own community but don't know where to start? Who would like to answer that one first? Any advice you could offer to people who want to make a change in their own community but don't know where to start? Oh, you're muted.
I think Mbak Sri will, it's better to answer first, because Mbak Sri has a long experience in the grassroots level, yeah? Maybe this the community. Please, Mbak Sri.
Thank you, Cak Fu, Amy, for the question. Yeah, that's how to say it. Like what Rosemary say, yeah, it's hard as a disabled to involve in the community, and that's really should be start from ourselves. So that's why I always happy to visit them. It's mean after mostly I visited disabled after they are teenagers. So I can say after we are confident with ourselves, after I can do my daily activity at home, and then I will dream how I can get out from my house, and then how can go out farther. So right now, how we start is really from ourselves, from the family supported, from the community supported. So of course, at the first time, they always say sad when they saw me. When they saw, because before I walk and then they saw me, I'm directly in the wheelchair, they are sad. At the beginning, they are sad, they are cry with why I'm become paralyzed. But no, when I meet them again, they also cry, but cry because they are happy. I can be active. I can work again. Especially, and they are appreciated when I can walk again. I can work again. So what I did is, at the beginning, always, everywhere, always they saw me. They are reactive. Something that I have something wrong, and then so many time I will go out, and then by itself people will be accustomed when I come there. So they like in my neighborhood, when they are wedding, when they are somebody pass away, I always come. I always come, whatever they saw me think about me. So right now I don't care about it because they don't know me and they want to me. They curious and they afraid to asking with me. So I just show up. I just pass the way, whatever. If when I can say what in front of me, there is a hole. Maybe there is big stone, but I have to pass that way. So I always right now the good thing in Indonesia, from the regulation from the main government, that we have the regulation in the village, as we call it, undang-undang desa. The regulation that's the disabled in the village should have the community disabled people organization in the village, so that if we have in the community, and there we have the name of the community in the village, and then we can access the budgeting of from the village, how we can empower that. So it's mean that we are, I mean, because I'm really live in the grassroots. So if we are empowerment, we are have opportunity how we can work together in the village, and we can show the government in the village, in the from the district, sub-district, and then village, and the regulation is already in there. We can show them about the regulation. It's easy for us how to advocate that we should be involved in the community. And so the first thing is ourselves as disabled.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sri. Bahrul, did you want to say something?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with what Sri said, that the main important is the role model in the community. The role model of what is the success story of the person with disabilities like Sri. It can be the motivation to other person with disability and also the family that have the disabled people members. And then the role model become like the motivation of them to advocate in the community level. And in this meeting also, I see some my colleagues. They are the activists in the grassroots, like Mas Edi from Central Java, and then there is also Mas Kasian from Yogyakarta. They are the disabled people activist movement in the grassroots level that also doing the advocacy for the like the improvement of the policy. So role model, transferring skill, transferring knowledge, and also transferring what is the motivation, like Mbak Sri doing, is very important. And I think the wheelchair is not only the assistive device. Wheelchair is also can play the role to transfer the motivation, transfer the knowledge, and also transfer the skill to other disabled people activists. We cannot imagine if Mbak Sri and me are not facilitated with the wheelchair. So we just stay at home. So we cannot meet, we cannot see the other disabled people and transferring the motivation to the others. And wheelchair is apply the important role. It's not only the assistive device. Wheelchair is the vehicle of the transferring knowledge, transferring motivation to other disabled people and family. This is my point, Debbie.
Wow, thank you so much, Bahrul. That was really good. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are about 8 minutes over the hour here. So that's all the questions, but I wondered if anyone has any final comments before we go ahead and end this. This has been wonderful. Do we have any final comments?
I don't know if anyone else does, but I don't think we could have ended on a better note. I think what you both just said was beautiful. I think, speaking of role models, there couldn't be two more wonderful role models in their communities. And so I'll just say thank you so much for spending this time with us, Sri and Bahrul. We really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. I think this has been great. And if anyone else has anything else you want to say, please jump in.
I just wanted to say hello to my friend Mason.
Yeah,
Mason. We sat next to each other at the galas.
Nice to
His
meet
parents, Mom and Dad. Hi, Mason.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Oh yeah, there's mention.
So well done. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So wonderful to hear your stories and experience.
Where you live, Mason? In California? Or in Hollywood? Hello,
Okay.
Mason. Okay, yeah.
He's using his computer. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, that's good.
We can wait. We can wait.
We can wait, yeah.
Oh, you want to say that? Go ahead.
Hollywood.
Okay, say it again. I'll make it louder.
Hollywood.
So he lives in Hollywood, Bahrul.
Hollywood, yeah. So
Mason is famous. He's a famous young man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, what you guys, it takes a very special person to be as determined as you guys have been, to be able to stand up to when people, some people really don't like you, or that they don't understand where you're coming from. So that takes a lot of perseverance and a strong spirit. So thank you guys for who you have been. I know it's probably been many years and probably a lot of pain through some hard times.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, James. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to thank everyone for attending this evening, and we hope that you will follow us on social media and sign up to receive email updates and more great stories on incredible people like Sri and Bahrul around the world. Thank you so much, everyone, and hope you have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you
so much.
Hopefully the pandemic will be end and we can visit Indonesia or exchange visit, yeah? America and Indonesia. Indonesia is not Bali, yeah? It's not only Bali, Indonesia, yeah? Not only Bali. We still have
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Terima kasih, Pak Didit.
Terima kasih, Pak Haji.
Bye, everyone.
Mas Edi, Mas Kasian, terima kasih. Bye, Mason.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Yes.
Hello, Mason. Nice to meet you, Mason.
It's nice to see you.
Yeah, maybe we will keep in touch by media social, yeah?
Yes, come visit us.
Maybe he will. Maybe he should.
Oh yeah.
One of our events.
Yeah, I also active in LinkedIn, and then also Instagram and Twitter as well. So please keep in touch, engage with me.
It's nice to see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.